Ethan Hayes had been given an impossible choice: join the secretive group that had hidden Ms. Parker away for 27 years, or vanish like she did. Before he could answer, the basement door swung open, revealing a figure he hadn't seen in 2 decades. The dim light from the hallway framed a tall, lean man in a worn leather jacket. His face was older, more lined, but unmistakable. "Uncle Daniel?" Ethan's voice cracked. Daniel Hayes, his father's estranged younger brother, stepped into the room. Ethan hadn't seen him since he was 8, the night Daniel disappeared without explanation. Weller stiffened. Margaret's smile faltered. "You weren't invited," she said coldly. Daniel's eyes stayed locked on Ethan. "Neither was he. And if you touch him, this time I won't miss." Daniel's hand slid under his jacket, the unmistakable outline of a pistol pressing against the fabric. Weller took a step forward, but Margaret raised her hand. "Not here. Not now." Daniel gestured toward Ethan. "We're leaving. Both of us." Margaret's voice was silk wrapped around steel. "You walk out that door, and you'll never stop running." Daniel moved closer to Ethan, his voice low but urgent. "Whatever you found here, it's worse than you think. They don't just silence people. They erase them." Ethan glanced at the ledger on the desk, the weight of its pages heavy in his mind. "She's still alive," he whispered. "Ms. Parker. I saw her." Daniel froze, a flicker of recognition crossing his face. "Then we don't have much time." Margaret leaned back in her chair. "Daniel, you know how this ends. You've seen it before." Daniel's jaw tightened. "Yes, and I'm still breathing." Her smile returned, faint and unnerving. "For now." Daniel reached into his jacket pocket, not for the gun, but for a folded, yellowed photograph. He slid it to Ethan. It was Ms. Parker and Daniel, standing together in what looked like an unfinished basement, both smiling. Ethan stared at him. "You knew her?" Daniel nodded. "She was my friend, and the night she disappeared, I was supposed to be with her." Daniel's voice dropped even lower. "Ethan, your grandmother didn't just know about the ledger. She started it." The room went dead silent. Margaret's eyes narrowed. "Careful, Daniel. She kept records of everything they did," he continued, ignoring her. "And she passed the job to Lorraine. When Lorraine tried to get out, they made an example of her." Ethan's stomach twisted. "So what happens to me?" Margaret rose slowly from her chair. "That depends on whether you're smart enough to make the right choice." Daniel stepped between them. "The only choice he's making tonight is to leave." The room erupted into chaos. One of the men lunged at Daniel. Daniel shoved Ethan toward the door, the ledger skidding off the desk and spilling across the floor. Margaret shouted, "Don't let them leave with it." Ethan grabbed the ledger on instinct, clutching it to his chest as Daniel fired a warning shot into the ceiling. They bolted through the hallway, the sound of boots pounding after them. Ethan's lungs burned, but they didn't stop until they reached a rusted service exit. Daniel slammed it open, pulling Ethan into the cold night air. They sprinted across the darkened schoolyard, breath visible in the icy air. "We need somewhere safe," Ethan gasped. Daniel shook his head. "Safe doesn't exist anymore. But I know where we can hide." A car engine roared to life nearby. Headlights swept across the field, blinding them. As Ethan shielded his eyes, he saw who was behind the wheel and his legs nearly gave out. It was Ms. Parker. But instead of stopping, she hit the gas and drove straight toward them. Ethan and his long-lost Uncle Daniel barely escaped Crestwood High with the incriminating ledger. But just as they reached the schoolyard, headlights cut through the darkness. Behind the wheel was Ms. Parker, alive, but not slowing down. Daniel yanked Ethan to the side just as the sedan swerved past, tires screeching against frozen gravel. The car skidded to a stop 30 feet away. The driver's door flung open, and Ms. Parker stepped out, her hair longer and streaked with silver, her eyes wide with something between fear and urgency. "Get in," she shouted. "Now." Ethan hesitated. "Why were you?" "No time," she cut in sharply. "They'll track you in minutes." Daniel's hand hovered near his pistol. "You working with them now, Lorraine?" Her eyes flashed. "If I was, you'd already be dead. Both of you." Ethan looked between them, his mind spinning. "I saw you locked up. I saw them holding you." Ms. Parker glanced toward the darkened school, her voice dropping. "I let them see me in there. Made them think I was trapped. It was the only way to get close enough to find what I needed." Daniel stepped closer, suspicion written across his face. "And what exactly do you need?" She ignored the question and focused on Ethan. "Do you have it?" Ethan's grip tightened on the ledger. "Yes." Her shoulders eased for just a moment, then she stiffened again, glancing toward the tree line. "Then get in the car before." A gunshot cracked through the night. Daniel shoved Ethan toward the open passenger door as another round tore through the rear window. Ms. Parker dove behind the wheel, flooring the gas before Daniel had fully climbed in. The car fishtailed onto the service road, gravel spraying into the air. As they sped into the dark, Ethan noticed something, a fresh burn scar running from Ms. Parker's wrist to her elbow. She caught him looking but said nothing, just gripped the wheel tighter. Daniel, catching his breath, turned to her. "Where are we going?" "To someone who can decode the ledger," she said. "It's not just transactions, it's a map." Ethan's heart pounded. "A map to what?" Her answer was soft but heavy. "To where they keep the others." Daniel's eyes narrowed. "Others?" Ms. Parker nodded. "I wasn't the only one they took. Some of them have been gone even longer than me." Ethan's grip on the book tightened. "Why keep them alive?" Her gaze stayed fixed on the road. "Leverage. And insurance." Daniel leaned forward. "And my brother? Did they?" Ms. Parker's lips pressed into a thin line. "Yes." The word hit Daniel like a hammer. He slumped back in his seat, the truth finally catching up with him. The car roared down the empty road, headlights slicing through the fog. For the first time in hours, there was a thin illusion of safety. Ms. Parker exhaled. "We'll be at the cabin by dawn. Once we're there, I'll tell you everything." But just as Ethan started to breathe easier, a faint red glow lit up the dashboard, the GPS tracker signal. Daniel cursed under his breath. They tagged the car. Ms. Parker's knuckles went white on the wheel. "Then hold on." She spun the wheel hard, sending the car off the paved road and into the woods. Branches whipped against the windshield. Up ahead, through the trees, Ethan saw the faint outline of a wooden cabin. Relief flickered, until the porch light turned on, revealing a shadowy figure already waiting for them, holding a shotgun. Ethan, Daniel, and Ms. Parker barely escaped Crestwood High with the ledger, only to discover their car had been tagged with a tracker. They veered into the woods toward a cabin, but when they arrived, someone was already waiting with a shotgun. The figure stepped forward, the glow from the porch light revealing a weathered face with sharp, hawk-like eyes. "Stop right there," the man barked. His voice was rough, gravelly, the kind that carried both authority and history. Ms. Parker slowed the car, her hand lifted slightly off the wheel in a calming gesture. "It's me, Henry," she called out. "Put the gun down." Henry's gaze shifted from her to the two men inside the car. "You weren't supposed to bring company." Daniel opened the door slowly, one hand raised. We're just trying to stay alive." Henry's eyes narrowed. "Alive's a relative term out here." He lowered the shotgun slightly, but didn't set it aside. "Inside. Now," he ordered. The cabin was small, lit only by a few kerosene lamps. The smell of pine resin and old coffee filled the air. Maps lined the walls, some pinned with red strings and notes in cramped handwriting. Henry locked the door behind them, sliding a heavy wooden beam across it. "You've got less than 20 minutes before they trace you here," he said flatly. Daniel stepped forward. "Then why are we here?" Henry's eyes flicked to Ms. Parker. "Because she still thinks she can finish what she started." Ethan looked between them. "Finish what?" Ms. Parker ignored Ethan's question, moving to the wall of maps. She pulled down one pinned with a red circle. "This," she said, pointing to a spot deep in the hills. "This is where they keep them." Henry shook his head. "You're guessing." "I'm not guessing. The ledger confirms it," she snapped. Henry finally set the shotgun aside but kept it within reach. "That place is a fortress. Cameras. Dogs. Armed guards who don't sleep. You try to walk in there, you're not walking out." Ethan swallowed hard. "So, what's the plan?" Henry glanced at Ms. Parker. "The plan is to not get all of us killed." Daniel picked up the ledger and flipped to a page near the back. His eyes widened. "These numbers, they're dates. And the names, they're not all people. Some of them are code names." Ms. Parker's eyes lit with realization. "They're transport schedules." Ethan's voice was barely a whisper. "You mean, they're moving them?" Henry nodded grimly. "Which means if you wait too long, they'll be gone forever." Daniel slammed the ledger shut. "Then we hit them on a move. Fewer guards. Less risk." Henry's face darkened. "Less risk doesn't mean no risk. And there's something you don't know." Henry looked at Ms. Parker, almost pleading. "Tell them who's in there." She hesitated, then spoke the words that made Daniel's breath catch. "Your father, Ethan." Ethan's world tilted. "That's impossible. He died when I was 5. Her eyes softened. "That's what they wanted you to believe." The air in the cabin felt heavy, pressing in on them from all sides. Ethan's mind spun with memories that suddenly didn't make sense: the closed casket funeral, the missing police report, his mother's silence whenever he asked. Before he could say another word, the distant crunch of tires on gravel cut through the silence. Henry moved to the window and cursed. "They found us faster than I thought." Headlights swept across the trees, more than one vehicle. Daniel reached for his gun. Ms. Parker grabbed the ledger. Henry turned to them, his voice low and urgent. "If you want to live, you're going to have to trust me, and you're not going to like where we're going next." He pulled up a section of the cabin floor, revealing a pitch-black tunnel beneath. From outside, a voice boomed through a loudspeaker. "Come out now, or we burn it down." The cabin has been surrounded. Henry pulls up a section of the floor, revealing a hidden tunnel. Outside, a voice warns, "Come out now, or we burn it down." Henry shoves a lantern into Daniel's hands. "Move, now." Ethan drops into the tunnel first, boots sinking into damp soil. The air is cold, heavy with the smell of earth and mildew. Above, the sound of boots stomping on the cabin porch echoes like distant thunder. Ms. Parker is the last to enter, yanking the trapdoor shut above them. The darkness swallows them whole. Only the lantern's trembling light cuts through, illuminating wooden support beams and a narrow path barely wide enough for 2 people. They move quickly, Henry leading the way. "Where does this go?" Ethan whispers. "Far enough," Henry mutters. "If we live long enough to get there." Behind them, the muffled crack of splintering wood reaches their ears. Whoever's outside isn't waiting for an invitation. The tunnel bends sharply. Daniel's shoulder brushes the wall, sending dirt crumbling onto the path. Ms. Parker glances over her shoulder. Quiet. Sound carries. Ethan can't help himself. If my dad's alive, why didn't you tell me before? Her face hardens in the lantern light. Because knowing too soon could have gotten you and him killed. A low rumble begins to vibrate through the earth. At first, Ethan thinks it's his imagination, but then dust shakes loose from the ceiling. Henry curses under his breath. They've got ATVs. They're circling to the other end. Daniel's jaw tightens. Then we run. As they press on, Ethan notices crude symbols carved into the wooden beams. Triangles, circles, and a single word scratched deep: listen. Before he can ask, Henry yanks him forward. Eyes ahead. Kid, you don't want to know. They finally reach a wider chamber deep underground. In the center stands a rusted metal door set into stone, its surface scarred and dented as if someone had tried and failed to break it down. Henry fishes a key from a chain around his neck. This is the only way through without getting your heads blown off. When the door creaks open, Ethan expects more darkness. Instead, they step into a massive underground room lit by flickering fluorescent lights, filled with shelves stacked with crates, old radios, and boxes labeled with names and dates. Daniel pulls one down, brushing off the dust. Inside are dozens of photographs, men, women, children, some of whom look decades younger than they should be. Henry's voice is grim. This is where they keep records of everyone they've taken. Some of them were never supposed to be found. Ethan's heart pounds as he flips through a stack and freezes on an image of his father, dated only 3 months ago. Ethan turns on Ms. Parker. You knew he was alive. You knew where they were keeping him. Her voice cracks. I knew he was alive. I didn't know why they were keeping him. Daniel steps between them. Enough. Where's the exit? Henry crosses to another door, smaller and reinforced with steel. Through here. But once we go, there's no turning back. Just as Henry unlocks the door, a loud metallic clang echoes from the far end of the tunnel they came through, followed by the unmistakable sound of heavy boots splashing through mud. Then, from behind the steel door, a faint knock, 3 slow taps, a pause, then 2 more. Henry stiffens, his hand frozen on the latch. His voice drops to a whisper. Only one person knows that knock, and he's supposed to be dead. In the underground chamber, Henry unlocks a reinforced steel door. From inside, a knock pattern echoes, 3 slow taps, a pause, then 2 more. Henry whispers, only one person knows that knock, and he's supposed to be dead. With deliberate slowness, Henry twists the latch. The hinges groan in protest as the door swings inward. A man steps out, tall, gaunt, with a face lined by time but unmistakable in its resemblance to Ethan. Ethan's breath catches. Dad? The man's eyes glisten, but he doesn't move forward. Ethan, you shouldn't be here. Ms. Parker steps into the light. John, you thought I was dead. I know. His gaze hardens. That's exactly what they wanted. Daniel glances toward the tunnel. The sound of boots and shouting is closer now, echoing like a drumbeat. We need to move. Now. Ethan takes a step forward, but his father holds up a hand. We can't go yet. There's something here they can't find, and I've been guarding it for years. Henry's voice is tense. We don't have years. We have minutes. John crosses to a locked crate in the corner, pulling a key from around his neck. The lid opens to reveal a thick, leather-bound journal, its edges burned and pages warped from water damage. Ms. Parker stiffens. That's That's the original ledger. John nods grimly. The one you have is a copy. This one has the names they erased. As John flips the pages, Ethan notices certain names circled in red. One of them is unfamiliar, Project Halcyon written in jagged ink. Before he can ask, the first crack of gunfire rings out from the tunnel entrance. Dust rains from the ceiling. John slams the ledger shut. They're not here for me. They're here for this. Henry curses. Then we split. I'll lead them away while you take the kid and the book. Ms. Parker shakes her head. They'll kill you before you get 10 feet. John steps toward Ethan, placing the ledger in his hands. Everything you've been told about your mother's death was a lie. She didn't die in that fire. Ethan stares at him, stunned. What are you talking about? She's alive and she's the reason they took me. Ethan's voice is a whisper, trembling with shock. Where is she? John's expression is grave. Someplace worse than death. And if we don't get to her first, she'll wish she had died. The group crowds toward a narrow side tunnel as the gunfire grows louder. Henry pushes them through, slamming the steel door shut behind them. They rush down the dim corridor, the flickering lantern casting frantic shadows on the stone walls. From ahead comes a faint metallic sound, the grinding of gears followed by a deep, mechanical click. Daniel freezes. That's not gunfire. John's face drains of color. No, that's a vault door. And if it's opening? The lantern light catches a shadow ahead, tall, humanoid, but wearing a mask of polished steel. The group flees through a narrow side tunnel, away from the gunfire. Ahead, the grinding of gears and a deep click echoes through the stone. From the shadows, a tall figure emerges, its face hidden behind a mask of polished steel. The lantern light dances across the mask, revealing no mouth, no eyes, just a blank, reflective surface. Ethan's breath fogs in the damp air. What is that? John doesn't answer. Instead, he pulls Ethan behind him, his grip iron tight. The figure tilts its head, as though studying them, then takes a single step forward. The sound is not the creak of leather or fabric, but the heavy clang of metal boots striking stone. Henry pulls a short, rusted revolver from his jacket. Stay behind me. Before he can aim, the figure raises an arm and slams its palm into the tunnel wall. A concealed panel slides open behind it, revealing a vault door, the source of the grinding noise. From inside the vault, a cold blue light spills into the tunnel. Ms. Parker grips Ethan's shoulder. We don't want to see what's in there. But John shakes his head. We don't have a choice. That's where Halcyon is. The masked figure steps aside, almost inviting them in. The group hesitates, the distant gunfire still echoing behind them. Henry spits on the ground. Trap. It's a trap. John's voice is calm but firm. Every second we waste, we're closer to being surrounded. With a deep breath, he steps into the vault. Ethan follows. The air inside is freezing, unnaturally so, and the walls are lined with rows of cylindrical glass tanks. Each tank is filled with a pale, cloudy fluid. Shapes float inside. Some are human. Others are not. Ethan notices a tag on one tank, Subject 47P Parker. His eyes dart to Ms. Parker, who stares at it in shock. At the far end of the vault is a control console, its screens glowing with scrolling code. One monitor displays an old black and white photograph, a woman standing beside a younger John. Ethan's mother. In red letters across the bottom, active. John swallows hard. She's not just alive, she's one of them now. Ethan's voice cracks. One of what? John glances at the tanks around them. Halcyon wasn't a project to kill people. It was to change them. Henry steps forward, fury in his voice. You knew all along what they were doing down here. John meets his glare. And if I told you, you'd be dead already, just like the rest of my team. Ms. Parker turns sharply. We need to leave. Now. The masked figure moves to the console, pressing a sequence of buttons. One of the tanks begins to drain, the cloudy fluid gurgling as it disappears. Inside, a figure starts to stir. Ethan's heart pounds as the glass slides open with a hiss. A woman steps out, her hair plastered to her face, her skin pale and almost translucent, but her eyes glow faint blue in the cold light. She looks directly at Ethan. Hello, son. From the tunnel outside, the roar of approaching engines grows louder. The masked figure turns toward the door and locks it from the inside. The vault door seals behind them. The glass tank drains, revealing a woman with pale skin and glowing blue eyes. She steps forward, looking directly at Ethan. Hello, son. Ethan's throat tightens. Mom? Her lips curve into something between a smile and a grimace. You've grown. John moves in front of Ethan. Don't come any closer. Her gaze flicks to John, cold and sharp. Still trying to protect him? You've done enough damage. Henry's hand hovers near his revolver. Tell me why she looks like she's been dead for 20 years. Ms. Parker mutters under her breath. That's not death. That's transformation. The woman tilts her head. They called it halcyon. You call it horror. But it's neither, it's survival. From the tanks around them, faint thuds begin. Slow, rhythmic, like something waking up. Ethan's eyes dart to the shapes inside. What's happening? His mother's voice is soft, almost gentle. I opened the system. They're coming online. John grips Ethan's arm. We need to go. Now. But the masked figure blocks the vault exit, silent, unmoving. Ms. Parker notices a keycard hanging from the woman's neck, its edges frayed from age. Stamped on it is a single word, Access LVL Omega. She knows what that means. It can open the sublevel that's been sealed for decades. But why is she wearing it? Henry pulls John aside. We can't take her with us. She's part of them. John shakes his head. She's the only one who can get us to the control hub. Without her, we're trapped. Ethan overhears, his voice trembling. I'm not leaving her here. His mother steps forward, pressing the cold, wet keycard into Ethan's palm. If you want the truth, you have to go where even your father wouldn't. John's jaw clenches. Don't listen to her. She turns to him, eyes narrowing. Tell him why you really disappeared in '95. The room goes still. Ethan's gaze snaps to his father. What is she talking about? John doesn't answer. Instead, he grabs Ethan's wrist and pulls him toward the tanks. The masked figure takes a step forward and John pulls a small, hand-carved whistle from his pocket, blowing a sharp note. The figure freezes, like a machine receiving a shutdown command. The thudding from the tanks grows louder. One by one, the glass begins to crack. His mother moves to a console, typing a rapid sequence of commands. I can hold them for a few minutes. But after that, she looks at Ethan, her voice heavy. You'll have to choose a side. The first tank shatters, spilling freezing fluid onto the floor. A figure steps out human-shaped, but its skin is metallic and its eyes burn with the same blue light as hers. It turns toward Ethan and speaks in a voice that's not human. Subject 48 identified. Initiating retrieval. The vault's lights flicker, and in the darkness, dozens of glowing eyes open. The first tank shatters. A figure with metallic skin and glowing blue eyes steps forward. From the shadows, dozens of eyes open in the darkness. and the voice cold and mechanical echoes through the vault. Subject 48 identified. Initiating retrieval. John yanks Ethan backward. Move. Fluid spills across the floor, turning it into an icy sheet. The creatures, once human, now altered beyond recognition, step out of their tanks with slow, deliberate movements. Ms. Parker smashes a red emergency lever on the wall, and a steel grate slams down between them and the nearest creatures. The sound reverberates through the vault like a gunshot. The masked figure stirs again, ignoring John's whistle this time, and charges toward the group. Henry fires twice. The bullets ricochet harmlessly off its armor. John grabs Ethan and they sprint into a side corridor, blue emergency lights flashing along the walls. Behind them, heavy footsteps grow louder. They burst into a chamber lined with old supply crates. Ethan's mother catches up, shoving a crate aside to reveal a ladder descending into darkness. "This is the only way out now," she says. Henry eyes her with distrust. "And where does it lead?" Her lips twitch. "Somewhere your bullets can't save you." As they descend, Ethan notices the LVL Omega keycard swinging from his neck. He remembers her words, "If you want the truth, you have to go where even your father wouldn't." At the bottom, a heavy steel door blocks the way, a card reader glowing faintly beside it. Ethan swipes the card. The lock clicks and the door creaks open. The room beyond isn't like the rest of the cold, mechanical facility. It's a small, warmly lit study lined with shelves of books, photographs, and a large corkboard covered in documents. At the center is a single desk with a folder marked Halcyon, Initial Authorization. Ethan flips it open. The first signature makes his stomach turn. John Parker. Ethan whirls around. "You started this." John's eyes drop. "We were trying to stop a disease, Ethan. A virus that would have wiped out half the country. Halcyon was meant to save lives." His mother steps forward. "By turning people into weapons." John's voice cracks. "I didn't know what they'd do after I left." The ground above shakes. The altered creatures are breaking through. Henry raises his gun. "We can end this. Blow the core and bury this place." Ethan looks between his parents, one who built it, one who became part of it. His mother's voice is urgent. "If you destroy it, you destroy me too." The sound of metal tearing above grows deafening. Ethan's hands tremble. His breath quickens. Finally, he pulls a small detonator from Henry's bag. "I'm sorry," he says softly, "but no one else gets hurt because of this." They run. Explosions ripple through the tunnels as the facility collapses behind them. Outside, the cold night air stings their skin. In the distance, the ground caves in, swallowing the ruins of Halcyon. Ethan stares at the horizon, tears mixing with sweat. Henry claps a hand on his shoulder. "You did the right thing, kid." Ethan's voice is quiet but steady. "I don't know if it was right. I just know it had to be done." As dawn breaks, Ms. Parker speaks softly. "Sometimes the hardest choice isn't between right and wrong, it's between what's best for the world and what's best for you." Henry adds, "The past doesn't define you. What you do next does." And Ethan, now carrying the weight of everything he's seen, whispers to himself, "Some secrets aren't meant to be kept. They're meant to be buried." The wind howls through the trees, carrying away the last echoes of the Halcyon project. But deep in Ethan's chest, he knows one truth will follow him forever. Character isn't built when life is easy, it's forged in the moments you'd give anything to avoid.